Hello, my HeARTation family. How's everyone doing? Today is Friday, and I can't believe it. This is going to be our second Facebook Live in a row. This has to be my first this year. So still, it's going to be another heartful conversation, and I cannot wait to bring in our special guest to share her journey with us. So first and foremost, let me welcome and help me to welcome my partner in self-compassion. Hi, Priya. It's been a long while.
Hi, Joy. Pleasure to be here again.
It's like I'm just wondering, like maybe 1 month from now, I'll be like, yeah, I have enough of Joy's face, enough. I see her so much.
No, I'm good. I'm enjoying every moment of this. Yeah.
Okay, so here we have another like old friend of yours who has been very brave to come say yes to not just the challenge, but also to share with us live her journey together with us.
Absolutely.
So let's welcome Saramaya. Hi,
Hi,
Saramaya.
Hi.
So how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great actually. Very energetic, and I'm very excited to be here. And I'm very grateful to Priya and yourself for inviting me. And I'm ready to share my story.
Excellent. Thank you for
Wonderful.
saying yes. I'm so glad that you're feeling much better this week. So let's dive straight in. So before we go into your sharing, I just want to share very briefly to remind everyone what we are talking about here, and in terms of science, how do we define it? So here, this is of course the self-compassion 7 days challenge. So what exactly is self-compassion? Self-compassion means that we are able to extend self-kindness, self-compassion towards ourselves in times when we perceive that we are suffering, or where we feel that we have failed in some areas, or that we are being inadequate. So Dr. Christine Neff has broken down self-compassion into three main components, namely loving kindness to yourself, common humanity, and mindfulness. So the first component is self-kindness, the ability to demonstrate kindness to ourselves, to be able to be gentle and understanding. That comes so easy when it's outwardly directed, but inwardly it becomes a challenge. So to cultivate that ability for yourself as well, to be able to be gentle and understanding instead of being critical and judgmental. The second component is common humanity, recognizing that in the human condition, we all suffer. Suffering is not unique to our own experience. To be able to hold that understanding even when we are in challenging circumstances. And last but not least, self-compassion also comprises of mindfulness, which is balanced awareness, being able to hold the situation and to see reality as it is without ignoring it or suppressing what's going on or denying it, or going to the other end by exaggerating the situation, being able to see what is as it is, as what Brian Katie would say, loving what is. So that is the three components of self-compassion: loving kindness for self, common humanity, and mindfulness. So with that, I think we're in a really nice position to jump straight into very private experience of this thing that we have just described by science, self-compassion. Let's dive straight into Saramaya's experience of cultivating self-compassion for herself. So Saramaya, when you first started, what really was your goal? I know that Dr. Priya invited you to join this challenge.
Mhm. My goal really was to remind myself that I should always be compassionate to myself. Self-compassion is something I started back in 2017 when I was in a very abusive marriage, and I was in a very, very dark, deep place. So one day I looked at myself in the mirror and I couldn't recognize myself anymore. I looked at this woman, and the woman looking back, I didn't know who she was, and when I saw her, I told her, I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to have put you in this place. I'm so sorry to have made you endure all the pain that you've gone through, and that was when I realized that I need to be sorry. I need to say sorry to myself. And that's when I began my self-compassion journey. And I didn't realize it then, but that was the beginning of my healing. By saying sorry to myself, and I accepted, not I accepted, I acknowledged that I have made mistakes. When you say sorry to yourself, it means that you acknowledge you've made wrong decisions, wrong choices, and you accept that yes, I failed in this. I failed myself. I'm not talking about society, but I failed myself. And so that's when I began my self compassion actually. And from then on, I told myself, I gave myself 1 year. Actually, I gave myself 1 year. I said, okay, by my next birthday, I'm coming out of this marriage. And I told myself, I'm leaving. Before my next birthday, I'm leaving. And that is exactly what I did. Just days before my birthday, I left the marriage. I packed my bags and I walked out. And it felt so easy. For a few years I was suffering in a place, and I thought it was so hard to leave. It was difficult. But the moment I left, it just felt so easy. And I asked myself, why on earth did I not do this? And a month later, no, not a month later, but a week later, when I look back at my pictures from the time I left, I could see a different person. The Saramaya I saw in the mirror was different. I smiled, I was glowing, I was back in touch with all my friends. And yeah, and that was really the beginning of my self-healing, my self-compassion. Because I believe that in order for you to um, help others or to be of service to others, be it your parents, your siblings, your friends, you have to be the best version of yourself. Only can you be the best for your friends, your family, for your job. So yeah, gotta take care of yourself first.
I appreciate the sharing. That's very. It's coming from a very heartfelt, deep place. I think I know the story. It's familiar. You've told this to me before, and you uh, shared this story. I'm getting goosebumps when I'm saying this because it's like your story is very unique, um, and I don't know how you have pulled through, but I admire your courage. Um, it is not easy. It is not easy, but I'm glad you're at a place where you have soul searched. You have redirected all your energy coming out of an abusive marriage, battling with CA, and all the other challenges that have been thrown at you. So I believe that I see a very solution focused person in you. You're very goal oriented, right? And so you're very scheduled. You give yourself goals and ultimatums, and you stick by it. Okay, and that's what self compassion is all about. It's about you know listening to yourself, being able to forgive yourself. Forgiveness is very essential in the self compassionate journey, I believe. And you forgave yourself not because you were perfect, because of all the imperfections that made you perfect. You know. So for me, I see this brave young girl. You're still young. We're all young.
Yes, I am.
Okay, a very brave person in front of me, um, and to our friends. I think most of them who know us, who know us. We have been in school together.
Yeah.
Secondary school year, we were in high school together, and I have seen that transition. You know, different stages of your life. Okay, and today who you are, I have nothing but admiration for where you've
Thank
come,
you.
and how far you've come in this journey. So it's a big applause for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I do want to add, yeah. Uh, Giving yourself goals is very, very important, like what you said. And I think when you set certain timeline for yourself, you have you put yourself in a position where you've got no choice but to achieve that. You know, it's like, okay, my birthday is coming up. My birthdays have always been my my timeline. You know, okay,
Yeah.
by this birthday I got to do this. By this birthday I have to do this. And it's okay if you miss by a couple of months, because some things in life, it is out of your control. Like I told myself, by my 40th birthday I will get my divorce, but I didn't. You know, it was 2 months later, but that's okay. And don't beat yourself up for it. Yeah. And the other thing I want to point out, that you must have your support system, whether it's marriage, cancer, whatever it is you're going through. You have to have a really strong support system, be it your friends, your family, your colleagues, whatever it is. And to me, my family and my friends were my greatest support, actually. And there was a moment in my time when I was at my lowest point. Yeah, and I had such a difficult time. I was with a friend of mine in Genting. I was broke out of my mind. And she said, "You know what? You're coming with me. Don't worry about expenses. I'll take care of it." So I said, "Okay." In return, I do all the driving, and that was good barter trade. And so yeah, I was alone and I was looking at the moonlight. Surprisingly, in Genting, it was clear enough for me to see the moonlight. And I wrote my first poetry. It was the first time in my life that I wrote a poetry. I wrote a poem. Never in my life had I ever written one before. And when I look at it, and I told myself, damn, girl, you are creative. This is new, you know? And that is how it is through poetry that I express my innermost thoughts, my innermost feelings. And I just write it down. And I've written, I don't know, maybe about 50 also poems, and that really really helped me. And I've been able to connect with people better through my writings. You know, sometimes I could just be sitting with a friend and I'll write about her, and when she reads it, she's in tears. She's like, my god, this is exactly how I'm feeling. And you just put it in a few sentences. So yeah, that is one way of me giving back, and one way of me expressing whatever is that to me.
Thank you, Saramaya, for sharing. That's really amazing. I love how like you already. I can appreciate what Priya is saying about you. You went straight into solution. You were already telling us, "Hey, you must have goals." So I love that. So clearly, you are, as Priya has mentioned, a problem solver, a solution seeker. And yet, having said that, and then here you are, in the next breath, sharing with us about your poem writing ability. So that's really amazing to me. It's I think really testimonial to what you say works, makes sense, right? Like when you seek solutions and when you have a strong support system, you even went into creativity and you started writing poem. During the trip where your friend decided that you needed a break, and in that experience, your creativity sprung up. So I think creativity is a very powerful healing tool as well. So thank you so much. I love that your tips are coming fast and furious, and we have only just started our conversation. So this is super awesome. So what has been so now we've talked about your goal. Let's go straight into your experience. How has been the experience been like for you, being so intentional about cultivating a compassionate relationship for yourself?
Okay, for me, I always look into the mirror, right? Because your reflection sees it all. Like they say, you can see everything through your eyes, right? So, when you look at someone, let's say you're walking the street and you find some homeless person, and you when you look at that person, you have nothing but compassion for that person. So I think it's very important that you actually look at yourself. So you always have to look at yourself, stand in front of the mirror, and look at yourself, and you gotta feel, if you're feeling sorry for yourself, if you're not happy with what you're seeing, um, then you got to change things. For me, it's always been about bulldozing through whatever issues I've had, you know. And when I look in the mirror and I say, you know what, I like what I'm seeing. And to be honest with you, for me to sit here and speak to you is actually very, very challenging, because after my surgery and radiotherapy, I had a severe burns, severe radiotherapy burns. So my body is disfigured, right? Even though I'm the only one who can see it, still it affects your confidence. And after my radiotherapy session, I didn't realize this, but I had lost my confidence. I was asked to give a small presentation in the office, and I could feel the tremble in my own voice. I could feel my hands and my toes sweating. And after the presentation, I went to the toilet and I cried. You know, I cried. I said, "Oh God, I lost my confidence." Speaking in public is something that comes naturally for me. I enjoy speaking. I enjoy expressing myself. But at that moment, I had lost my confidence. I looked in the mirror, okay, and I told myself, you need to fix this. This is some form of PTSD or something like that. So you got to fix it, right? And I, what happened was that I was still sick, so I couldn't really do much. But what I did was I started focusing more on prayers, on spirituality. And then a few months down the road, I realized, okay, I need to fix what I don't like. And I started working out. I started exercising. You see, at that point in time, my pressure was really, really high. My doctor actually wanted to put me on pressure pills. I said, no way, I'm not taking any more pills. So I started working out. And I lost 10 kgs in the last 7 months. And on top of that, my pressure went down, my blood work, everything was perfect. And just 2 months ago, there was this one a photographer had actually published in Facebook. Whoever he's doing a scar, what do you call it? Self love. You know, taking pictures of scars. So I volunteered. And he took a picture of me. There was one particular picture when I saw it. I told myself, "Girl, you are back. You are you know," because when I looked at that picture, it was full of confidence, and I was happy at what I was seeing. This is a picture, you know. I was so happy to see what I was seeing. And when Priya told me, Dr. Priya says, you know, can you come and do this? I'm excited because I got my confidence back. And it is a journey. It took me a year, a whole year to get here, but it's worth it. And in that journey, you learn a great deal about yourself. You learn to forgive yourself. You learn to ask for help because you really want to be better. You want to be the best version of yourself, and you also want to realize your greatest potential. And that's where I am. I've not reached there. I'm still, my journey is still, you know, it's a long way, but I've reached a point where I can comfortably sit here and talk to all of you with confidence. I don't hear the tremble in my voice. I'm sweating, but that's hot flashes. So, but yeah, I've got confidence talking to you, and I'm happy to do this. So, yeah, it has to be intentional. You have to want it. Nobody can ask you for it. Nobody can force you. You have to want it. And you need to know, why are you doing this? For me, I've always been a fighter. Um, in my marriage, it's about saving my life. Cancer, it was about saving my life. And I want to be the best of who I am here. you know. And for me, I do this because I deserve this. I want it. And how can I help others? How can I help you in helping others if I'm not at my best?
Nice, very nice. It's when you say fighter, I always think about Christina Aguilera's song, Fighter,
Yes.
with the boxing, and that's so apt because I've listened to that song in my very very low moments as well, and I always blast that music at home whenever I feel like I need just a boost of confidence, and so I can totally understand where you're coming from, Sarah. So this is it's very like I said, it's very deep what you're sharing with us, all that shame, all that guilt, all all that you have endured is just coming out in the open, and you're fearless when it comes to expressing yourself, okay? And that's very courageous of you, brave in fact, um, for loving yourself the way you are. She did share these photos with me, the one that the photographer took of your scars, and it was so beautiful. I think I just kept scrolling up and down, looking at that so many times, because honestly, if you ask me, even now, okay, without battling any form of cancer, it's like I wouldn't even do something like that. There's just that cocoon I built up inside of me. No, I'm not going to reveal this part of me. There's nothing there in me and stuff like that. And for you, okay, with all that you have managed to take a photo shoot, it turned out so beautiful. Okay, I liked all those poses. It was just so, it was so natural. It was effortless. I feel from your side. Okay, you were happy in your skin and very comfortable. Okay, and all that was projected through those photos. So I totally get what you're saying, where you're coming from, and all these little hacks and tips that you're sharing with us, I'm sure will benefit all those who are watching our broadcast. Because I know many of them are silently going through this and probably don't have the voice to, you know, talk about this. And I hope Sarah's story and Sarah's journey inspires you to come out, seek help, or take the tools that you have learned in this past 2 weeks with you, and start applying that, even if it's just very small little things, like the heartation pulse and the breathing and all that. I mean, these are actually very significant. When you actually utilize it in the correct way, it really helps. It really helps, believe me. So once again, thank you. Wonderful, wonderful tips from you. I can't wait to hear the rest of what you've got to share with us. On to you, Joy.
Thank you, Sarah. What I've learned to appreciate and enjoy is this common thread in all our four courageous women who came to do Facebook live sharing for our self-compassion journey. They all demonstrate a common thread, and that's courage. That's being fearless. In your own way, you guys stood up and say, this is not acceptable. What's going on in my life? This aspect of me, I'm going to change. What should I do about it? And all of you all of you activated, solution solving, whether it's action or whether it's a mindset. Eileen, Mei-Ting, Ashley, and you, Sarah, I see you guys might do slightly different things, but all coming from the same place. I'm going to take full responsibility for my own healing and empowerment. So I'm really glad to be able to have a platform like our Facebook Live to share the inspiration that you guys truly are. And that energy, I think it's difficult to spread it. Well, it's possible, but I think the best impact is still best felt in a video form, I think, versus just words. There's so much more power here. So I'm very glad to have you on screen and people can see you, feel your energy as you're sharing all your solutions and how you change your mindset. You sharing about the woman in the mirror, not liking what you see and deciding to do something about it, and taking pictures of your scars when that is the last thing that most of us would do. That is like we'll do any and everything to hide our scars, hide our imperfection. And here we have you standing here and saying, look at me. look at my scar. So thank you, Sarah, for being such a wave of courage that, it seems to be like truly, like I feel like I'm truly living #fearless Friday from She Network. I feel like I'm really experiencing it today. So it's really beautiful. Which of the tasks stood out for you, Sarah? And what did you realize during the process?
Um, there was this, when you wake up in the morning and you gotta hold your
HeARTation and breath, right?
yes, right. For me, I think that is the most difficult thing to do. It sounds so simple, but for me, when I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. I'm thinking about all the things I have to do, right? And so I'm not thinking about being grateful or smiling. Sometimes you wake up annoyed for whatever reason, right? I'm sure that has happened. Sometimes we wake up annoyed. Um, uh, but I actually began I began meditation, right? And with meditation, I actually wake up very early in the morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I do about 20 minutes to half an hour of meditation. I do a bit of prayer, and I started exercising in the morning. I think by doing that, because when you are meditating, you're focusing on something, and by doing that, when you meditate, you're supposed to let go, you're supposed to let free, right? So you're not supposed to be thinking about all the things I need to do for the day, right? Like I got my dogs, I can hear my dog is making noise and telling me I need food. I'm not okay. I am meditating, and I think that is in a way you're preparing yourself for the day. That is your me time. That's my me time. So from the hours of 4 to 7, I don't get any phone calls. Everyone at home is still asleep. That's my me time. And I think it's very important we start our day like that. I never thought I would actually be the kind of person who wakes up at 4 in the morning. No. Um, but yeah, but with this challenge, it so happened this challenge actually coincided with my radiotherapy sessions, right? So I was not able to do what I usually do, and to wake up, I wake up exhausted from the radiotherapy. I can't even lift my hand to my heart and say I'm grateful, even though I should, and I am, but I'm so focused on being tired, and I realized that I was so focused on being tired, and I told myself, no, I cannot focus on the tiredness. I have to snap out of it, and I have to get going. It's okay if I sleep extra, but when the moment I wake up, I'm not going to think about tired. I'm going to get up and do what I need to do. And so last week was that tiredness. But this week, I got so much energy. I can drive myself to the hospital. I can, we had prayers last night. It was all night long. I stayed up all night and I wrote a poem last night. So yeah, I'm full of energy. And it is, initially that was a tough part, but I got over it. You got to realize what is it that's stopping you from enjoying your morning. So yeah, for me, I
Yeah.
told myself, no, I'm not going to focus on being tired. I'm going to get up and do what I need to do.
This is what I see. There's so much of resilience in you, where you're like, I'm going to do this no matter what. You were so tired. You let that word tired, like, be replaced with something more positive, something doable for you. Okay. You reframe that entire feeling, your thoughts, everything was just reframed in a matter of moments. And you said, you know what? Yeah, this has to be changed. And I need to do this. I need to do this challenge for myself, not
Mm.
for others, but for myself.
Yeah.
That's very important. I think in the self-compassion journey, I think resilience is something, a topic that it often crops up, and and belief. I think these are two key words that I always like to believe in when it comes to self-compassion, empathy, in that order. So you need to believe in what you're doing. It's because if you don't do, I mean, we can craft so many challenges and tasks for people out there, but do you believe in it? That's up to you. Because when you put that belief, you automatically take this task personally to yourself for your own betterment. And I think that's what you have done for yourself. You were even doing it way before this entire HeARTation self-compassion challenge started. Okay, so you've already got everything in place. As I said before, the problem solver in you or the solution focused problem person in you, okay, takes charge almost immediately, and with all that grit and resilience and all that, you just go like, you know, you just go full force and do what you need to do. So I'm glad that you are feeling much better. I think radiotherapy is not easy. Okay, it really takes a drain and toll on your body. I understand that. So I'm so grateful that you have come out of that, and today you're in a much better place. In this week you're feeling much better. You're more energetic. You've got so much to tell us, so much more to share with us. So um, I just can't wait to hear more and more of this. I'm really enjoying myself. Yeah.
So Sarah was sharing about the day one task in the self-compassion challenge, where it's a spin-off of something that we teach in HeARTation training called the HeARTation Pulse. So it includes basically first and foremost, or waking up in the morning, hand on your heart, and coming from a place of gratitude. What am I grateful for in this moment? As Sarah has shared, sounds so simple, isn't it? But I think there's a lot of power in simplicity. Like what she said, sometimes we wake up grouchy. Sometimes we don't know why. Sometimes we know because there's this part of my body that's aching. And so, I mean, anything is possible when you wake up happy, not feeling anything, or not happy about something. But to be very intentional, the moment you wake up, automatically hand on your heart, me time, right? First thing first, I take care of me first before I take care of the rest of the world. That is the psychology behind HeARTation Pulse. Me time, even if it's that 2 minutes, even before you open your eyes, your hand immediately go to your heart. In this moment, what am I grateful for? Being alive, right? Who in my life am I grateful for? And what am I grateful about myself? Having that breath of gratitude also directed inwards. And coming from that space, then the rest of the day, doesn't matter how challenging it is, you started on the right note. So the odds are high that you're going to make a better decision throughout the day because you started your day with a HeARTation Pulse. It can be anything, you can call it whatever name you want, but coming from a place of gratitude. That was basically the gist of the whole exercise. Very simple. Anyone can do it, but yet the funny thing is we don't. We actually did something called a 7 days challenge to do something so simple that at the end of the day, do we really need anyone to tell us that? But well, humans, we are curious creatures, isn't it? Yes, we kind of need people to tell us, hey, please do this. Not complicated or simple. So I'm really happy to hear that the HeARTation Pulse, something simple, but has been supporting you, especially last week when it was a bit of a challenge for you. And here I want to give you a shout out as well. Thank you, Eileen, for watching us. And Eileen is saying to you, Sarah, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
And also want to say a shout out to Ravind and Tom. I know both of you are watching us right now. So let's talk about the challenging part for you. Sarah, what was the biggest obstacle in doing the challenge and how did you manage?
Quite a number of challenge I actually didn't quite follow through. Like I said, I was really out of it last week. Really tired, and I was actually zapping my ovaries permanently, shutting it down. And so there were a lot of all these emotions going through. And I was actually I actually shut down a big part of who I am. There is no possibility of having children of my own anymore. And so the biggest challenge really was to overcome emotions. to even do any of the challenges, because in order for you to do the challenge, you have to be emotionally right, emotionally balanced, right? And last week, I was not really there. I was really really down and out of it, and I had to keep getting up, keep pushing myself. And when I'm lying in the radiotherapy machine, even though it's only for just 2 to 3 minutes, I'm just lying there, and I'm looking up, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, goodbye ovaries, and to even reach that decision was a difficult one. So I had all these emotions going on, right? Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm sad. But you know what? You can't always be in a negative point. You can't always be negative. And you can't also always be positive. So when you are having this imbalance of emotions, I think it's very important that we keep it in check. You're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, you're gonna have great days, you're gonna have horrible days. It's important that we acknowledge that. We accept it, okay? This is a bad day. This is a bad thing. This is a really bad emotion. What am I going to do about it? For me, sometimes when I am fit, I would actually start working out. I'd be even more aggressive in my working out. But because last week was just out of it, I just, sit down, listen to music. I kept working. Okay, I just kept sitting in front of my laptop and I was just working. Surprisingly, I actually accomplished quite a lot in terms of work. And by doing that, I keep my emotions in check because I'm focused on something else. I'm not forgetting that I have a problem that to deal with, but I'm just diverting for a minute, for a while, so that I can deal with it emotionally and then get back to it. But what I did was also I was actually really focusing a lot on my prayers. And for me, prayer is very, very important, regardless of who you pray to, when you pray, how you pray. As long as you're praying, as long as you believe in something, you gotta have total faith that everything is gonna be all right. And that is very, very hard to do, to have total faith. So prayers actually help a lot in having faith that I'm gonna be okay. Because when you have faith in yourself, you can do anything, right?
So I mean, the spiritual journey for you has been, I think, very significant. Yeah, I think it was very significant from the time I knew you. Um, you know, am I right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think yeah, it was. I think Joy. It's like I think when I saw her when we became friends in high school, and I think that was the first thing that like I caught on. It's like, okay, this person comes from a very spiritually inclined family, and I remember that was the identity that I always associated Sarah and your sisters and your mom and dad, your brother also, like every time I saw all of you in school, it's like, okay, this is, they belong to this group, and they're always very spiritually inclined, and you're very close knit as a family. Okay, and I think that spirituality brought you all together, and I'm so glad that the spirituality has come and helped you overcome all your challenges thus far, and still is. I think it's become now a bigger part of you. So there's that's all I really have to say, because I think in terms of who you are as a person, I think um, I've kind of followed your journey over the years. Yes, there were a few times when when we were doing our own stuff,
Yeah.
but yeah, we always made sure we kept in touch, and we were significant in each other's lives, and so to see where you are today, it's that's very important, because I'm happy that you have come to such a place, a platform where I feel that you should continue putting yourself up on a pedestal, because that's where you truly deserve to be,
Yeah.
without ovaries or not. I mean, you are phenomenal, Sarah. So you
Yeah.
know Yeah.
And I think the other thing is, when I decided to uh, zap my ovaries, I say things like this to, to keep it upbeat, right? Um, I realized that, okay, now that I'm not going to have children, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because suddenly there is all these possibilities for me. I can travel whenever I want to. I can go wherever I want, anytime I want. And my best friend actually told me, he said, Sarah, I have this daughter of mine and I'm constantly worried about her. She goes to school, I'm worried. She has a shower, I'm worried. She doesn't eat, I'm worried. She's sick, I'm worried. She was like, you don't have this kind of worries, okay? You will never have this kind of worries. And I thought to myself, you know what, she's right. I'm gonna be free from this kind of worries, right? So that's, I look at that as a plus point. So instead of having to worry about someone else, I'm gonna just worry about myself. Do whatever I want, wherever I go, and when one door closes, another one always opens. We hear this all the time, but we don't actually quite believe until things happen to us. And I've had many instances where a door closed for me, but soon after another one always opens. So after this, I'm actually waiting to see what door opens for me next. What adventure is out there for me? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, I'm excited for the next adventure.
Thank you, Sarah, for infecting us with your resilience, your optimism. It is like really amazing in such a challenging time. You are able to use the power of reframing to manage your own emotion, to manage all the negative thoughts that must be there. But you decided, no, I'm in charge here and I'm going to reframe my situation. I can't change my reality, but I can change the way I see it. So thank you for this great lesson. That like if someone like you, this is a real life situation that we're talking about, you just had as you would call it, zap your ovaries last week, and here you are this week telling us, hey, this is what I managed to reframe my thought, this is what I was focusing on instead. So this is like a real life case scenario where like this is not like textbook or cliche, sounds nice. No, like you are truly walking the talk and applying it, and in your own way. I would consider that what you're doing is really practicing not just self-compassion, but what you're really practicing is fierce self-love, determination to love yourself by taking action, looking at things from a solution point of view, reframing, taking care of yourself, exercising. When you're having treatment and you're very tired, giving yourself permission. It's okay if I need to sleep more, I sleep more. But when I wake up, I'm going to be grateful. When I wake up, I get up, and I will not just keep focusing on the tiredness. So everything that you've been sharing, you've just been from the start of the session, just been sprouting out solutions, right? I think like if someone take a notepad and start writing from the start, they will already have lots of tips how to self-manage. So Sarah, truly you is such an inspiration, and I'm really glad that you came on the Facebook Live to share with us how you've been supporting and helping yourself. It's really phenomenal to hear you share all these tips that you've been doing it like single-handedly all by yourself, right? The self-compassion challenge is really just a small bonus for someone like you who is already building a lot of resilience and having all these self-care techniques already in place. So for this 7-day self-compassion challenge, what has been most interesting or insightful for you?
That we have to be at our worst to have any kind of self-compassion on ourselves. I mean, why do we actually have to be at our worst? But so yeah, I mean, when I think back at all the things that happened, why is it that I had to be at such a horrible place in my life to have any kind of self-compassion? Why do I have to be at my worst to love myself? Why can't it be before that? Why is it that we cannot love ourselves before we got into so much trouble, before we got hurt, before anything else? Why does it have to why do we have to be at our worst? So yeah, that for me, that is something I definitely need to put a lot of thought on, you know. But I think it goes back to when you see someone, a homeless man, a homeless child, you feel sorry for that person. So yeah, I guess when you look at yourself, kind of feel sorry for yourself. Only then you realize I need to feel sorry for this person I'm looking in the mirror. But that is something I definitely will think about a lot more. Why? Why is it? Why does it have to be that way? Why can't we love ourselves sooner? Why is it that we? Um, why can't we feel sorry for ourselves sooner in our life? You know, I think this is something that we should think about and teach our future generation so they can be better than us.
I think that's a very valid point. I think most of us take ourselves for granted, or we put our needs second to others. Um, we are always last in the line. I mean, if you're someone who's having a family, it is everyone else before you know, um, and then you bulldoze yourself through your career, through your personal life. If you have kids, to your kids, um, and I feel that your question is so apt because I personally, also I change, and I'm sure so many of you can relate to this. Like we all take drastic measures and we just, decide, okay, I need to change myself only when something happens. Okay. Because okay, this I've come to my worst point. There's no way out for me and I need to change that. All right. And you have just put it beautifully in words, Sarah, that sometimes it's things like this that give us a wake up call. So when you just shared this, it's like, for me, it's like a wake up call as well. Okay. As it would be for so many who are watching this, you're probably reading it much later. That, why do we always need to perform? Why is our needs always questioned? It's like, why can't we just take action and do something about it? Why not sooner? Why later? So that why factor is always there. And these are things that I think sometimes there should be some soul searching beforehand. But life is so fast paced, life is so hectic, life is just going in a way that sometimes we have no control over it, that we neglect what you just asked just now. We neglect that self-compassionate part, we neglect that self-kindness, we neglect the mindfulness. Okay, all this to ourselves, we neglect all these things. Okay, we neglect being grateful to ourselves. you know um, I've never I don't remember a time when I last gave a pat on the back to myself. I don't. Okay, it was to this challenge that I actually started doing it, and I felt, yes, I deserved it because we just tend to underappreciate ourselves most of the time. So truly beautiful what you have said, truly beautiful that you have created awareness in the process. And that's I think that's very 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 true, in fact.
Mm. Thank you, Sarah, for bringing up a very valid point. Like, we are kind of like waiting for disaster to strike before we're like, okay, okay, I better do this, I better do that. I think it's part of human nature in some ways. Yet, again, another cliche, but so much wisdom that prevention is better than cure, right? So perhaps we can ask the question, how can I make sure I have sustainable well-being? How can I make sure that I will continuously have this nurturing relationship with myself? What are the simple things that I can do? Which is the whole point of this 7 days challenge, to teach you very small, simple tasks that you can do, hand on your heart. First thing when you wake up, having a sense of gratitude, having that me time first, self-soothing, physical, very simple things that we can do, but we have not habitualized it. We maybe for some of us, we have not even been introduced to it. I'm sure that for some of our challenges, before this challenge, maybe it sounds very strange to them, huh? Touch myself, that's very strange. But research have found that it is one of the most one of the most powerful way to self-soothe yourself. So it might sound funny, but actually there's a lot of power there, and so simple. Your hand is just there, part of your body, and you can just in that moment soothe yourself. You don't need to wait for someone else to do that for you. If someone else is there to do that for you, that is a bonus, but you don't have to wait because you have the power of your own hands. And I think that that's something that we should not take lightly. I love that the 7 days challenge, from all the sharing and feedback that we've been receiving, I think kind of made that point across better than we can in terms of lecturing and verbalizing. In doing the task by yourself, I think like in our mornings sharing with Mei Ting's Facebook Live, she herself starting to appreciate, oh, self-soothing, so simple. I've never really celebrate my small wins by putting action to it, right? It's always in my head. I will celebrate my small wins, but hey, I can use physical soothing as well to act out, right? To bring it into action, celebrating, but physically, I'm also doing it. My body is being involved, right? My wins are being embodied. And it's not just all a mental exercise. And now my mind and my body is celebrating my small wins together with me. Wow, sounds so simple, but I think very powerful, right? Being excited about your own small wins, and not just excited about the wins of the people around you, your daughter, and so on, but be excited about your own small win, whatever is big deal to you, by your definition, by your standard, celebrate it. So I really thank you for highlighting this very important point. I think one of the reasons for having this Facebook Live is so that people can also see, as people open up and being vulnerable, people like you, Sarah, who come on the show, people are reminded, hey, I don't have to reach that point, right? Like I can do it now. Whatever she's doing works for her. I can do it now. I can start doing now. I don't have to wait for something to happen before I start applying all these things that I'm hearing now in this moment. Someone else is sharing with me. I think that's the beauty of community as well. I hope that the fact that we have a community now can help to remind us as well, hey, start now, right? I'm doing it. Join me, right? So that's also the power of the community. As Sarah, you mentioned earlier, having that social system, social support, I think the HeARTation community is easily available here for anyone who's willing to do the work, to care for themselves. So clearly you have so much up your sleeve already, Sarah, in terms of your self-care box. Oh, it's really brimming, and I'm very, very happy for you. And I can see you're a walking testimony how when your self-care toolbox is full, you truly can be resilient. It's not that difficult because you can then now apply things to take care of yourself. So how do you intend to continue to cultivate this nurturing relationship that you already have with yourself?
By remembering why I do this, by remembering my past. I think our past is something that we should never forget. We should let go, we should forgive ourselves, but we should never forget. And that's one of the reason I think why we have scars. Because I think I told Priya this before. Scars means that I've won the battle, you know, it means I survived. So it's there to remind me that I got through that particular moment in my life. I got through that particular struggle. And in terms of that is physical scars, yeah, but there are emotional scars, and I remember them by through my writings, whatever it is that I write. It's so that I can look back, maybe 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, I can look back and say, okay, this happened, that's how I felt. And you know what, by doing that, I can actually see my progress. When I look at all the things I wrote 2 years ago and how I am now, they're quite different. You know, the words I use are different. Emotions in those writings are different. From there, I know that okay, I'm on the right direction. I'm getting there. You know, so yeah, by always remembering why I do this, I think that's very important. So we never forget.
Yes. So it's basically a form of expression, and I think that's um, one of the ideas that was behind this challenge. Um, Expression, and in my line of work, of course, expressive arts was something I was very comfortable doing, and I decided to bring a little part of that into our 7 days, and now 14 days. And it's all about, healing through your expression. Okay. and we all have different forms of expressing ourselves, and that is expressive arts for you, because it can be in poetry, as what you are doing, Sarah. So it can be in journaling, it can be in writing, it can be in even simple things like meditation. It can be in the drawing that I had done, um, in the video, and that's very insightful. Your story is on that piece of paper, or your story is in the form of your poetry, in those words, okay? And that's it itself is already a form of healing. So every time you look at that piece of paper or whatever form of expression that you have created, okay, you know what, this is me, and I'm proud that I've been able to express myself in this form. And it's so right when you say things like, like, don't let go of your past. I mean, don't forget your past. Let it go, yes, but don't forget about it, because every time you look at a little part of your past is actually in that picture, in that poetry, in that diary of yours that you're writing. So sometimes when you look back, yeah, this is what happened in the past, but look at where I am today. Like, look at my drawing now. It's like a before and after. So when I done the expressive art, the drawing, it's like, close your eyes because you're unguided, and that's giving you some kind of a picture, and then open your eyes again and now draw that perfect definition of what's happening to you now, in the here and now. Sorry, in the here and now. And where you look at yourself like, this was me then, or what I thought myself to be then, and this is me now, and that was the idea behind this. And so you beautifully explain that, okay, in your own version. And I feel that a lot of people um, kind of understood that as well, because these are through the comments that I saw on our FB group, uh, when that particular task was being done. And I remember, Joy, one of your comments was, today is very artistic. Today I have so much of color, and people are sharing their drawings in a picture. It was a very fun day. I feel it's like, like all those positive comments coming in. And I was actually looking at some of the artwork, and I just like to analyze. Okay, I like to analyze, very well, this is where this person is coming from. And it's really beautiful to see that people just letting it go, letting go of everything, and putting that in, something that they can express through. So yeah, it is very nice, okay, that you also share that, okay, in your own way. And that's exactly the idea that we're actually trying to achieve here. And you're just, as what, Joy, you said before, you're just, Sarah, you're just walking the talk here. Yeah.
I mean, history is a compulsory subject in school, right? So we're supposed to know all the things that happened 10, 20, 50, hundreds, thousands, okay, hundreds of years ago. So why should we forget about our past? For
Oh,
me,
bravo, I like
that's
that.
for me, that's the logic behind it. We're supposed
Yeah.
to know the history of so many things. So we should write our own journey. And 10, 20 years down the road, we read it or we look at it and we remember. We thought, okay, this is what I went through. This is where I am now, and I've done a great job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Beautifully said, Sarah. Thank you for being such a breath of fresh air, being so inspiring. And what would be your advice then for people who is maybe hesitating, to embark in this compassionate relationship with themselves, maybe having some doubt, some fear, some hesitation? What would be your advice for them?
Um, this is something I tell everyone. You have to be the best version of yourself in order for you to give your best, whether it's at work, parents, your siblings, your friends, to society in general. You can only give your best when you are at your best. So work on being the best of who you are.
Well said.
Indeed.
It's truly, yeah. It's really deep. Yes, definitely.
Yes, this is something that I wish everyone would remember, especially women. We cannot come from a place of lack. Fill up your own tank first, then when it overflows, which is going to be a natural consequence, you have so much more to give. Stop giving from an empty tank. So I feel like women, a lot of women, especially mothers, they go by sheer greed, like what I would actually call sometimes stupid great. Why do you have to do it this way? There's an easier way. And the easier way might feel counterintuitive because it means you have to take care of yourself first, right? So it feels like you have to take a few steps back in order to take more steps forward. It will feel counterintuitive, but it works. It works all the time. Sarah is one perfect example. It works when you take care of yourself. Already, she was having a difficult time. She was tired yesterday, last week. Look at her today. She's fresh, energetic, a force to reckon with, because she took care of herself first last week, and she's preparing to be here for us by taking a few steps back for herself first. So thank you, Sarah, for being so phenomenal. And for those of you who is wondering about all this talk about expressive art, about writing poem and drawing, and if you have missed out on the 7 days challenge, well, here is another chance for you to join in and experience Priya's expressive art therapy. And also, rightly so, as Sarah has been mentioning a lot about the woman in the mirror, we actually have a masterclass that is loving the one in the mirror. And here, Priya will be sharing with you how you can use your vital stats for well-being, how to communicate with yourself and heal through expressive art, how you can even enhance your personal attributes and highlight that to yourself. And I'll be sharing with you how to use tapping EFT to manage your inner critic, which we all have, and they can be really loud sometimes. How can we use simple things like breath work to release our depleting emotions, and what are some of the simple loving kindness techniques that we can use for self-care. So this is a masterclass on the 27th of March, 3 to 5 p.m. It's available on the Eventbrite. So join us, okay? So you have all the resources here. There is no excuse not to learn all these tools. They're simple and easily available so that we can have some bits of Sarah's superpower that we can call our own. So thank you, Sarah, for being
Thank
so
you.
brave, making time to come here on our Facebook Live to share your wealth of wisdom and knowledge, and your experience of walking the talk. Thank you so much. It's really very different when we have someone live on video like you, and we can sense your energy and truly appreciate like this is someone who really meant what she's saying. So thank you, Sarah.
Thank you
you
so
for
much
having
for
me.
coming aboard. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's end this amazing session together with our HeARTation pose. Okay, thank you everyone for watching. Please comment, share, let us know what has been most insightful for you during our time together in this Facebook Live. Okay, community, have a happy weekend ahead. And remember, always stay self-compassionate. Take care. Bye.
Bye.